But what I think about when I think about inclusive practices is really making sure that people feel seen and heard and valued.
Teachers can enhance their teaching all the time by reflecting about how inclusive they are in class. And I think that this is a part of high quality teaching.
Equal opportunity and respect for diversity. You know that we are not the same in the society, in the community, at school. Our students, for example, are from different cultures, different backgrounds, different classes. And to that inclusion, okay, I would say it is just more than being nice.
Creating an environment, an educational environment, where everyone, all students, feel welcomed and represented. Because we are preparing students for life. They are going to face these realities. And I think this is extremely important to be dealt with in the classroom, since it's part of life. And this is all about education. This is what school is all about.
What's important about inclusivity is allowing people who don't necessarily get as great a variety of perspectives as we would want them to have. It allows people to see more.
They create an equitable environment where all learners, regardless of their background or abilities, feel active.
The way that teachers demonstrate and model how they treat people who learn differently in the classroom, I think this encourages others in the classroom, students, to look up to this and say, yes, this is how we're going to behave towards this person as well.
It gives them a lot more confidence. It gives them a sense that the other person has been through the struggles they've been through. And so ultimately, that's why it's so important to get more perspectives, more inclusivity when you teach English.
I think it's important to raise awareness of the need for inclusion with everyone involved in teaching and learning. For example, teachers need to be reminded of what they can do to make their classroom and practice more inclusive. It's always a good idea to talk to learners about inclusion. And with school leaders, for example, they can also change the way the environment is to make it more inclusive as well.
These inclusive practices allow us to foster intercultural understanding. Digital ESL showcases inclusivity through the way that it was designed and the way it's meant to be taught. The way that it was designed is as an open educational resource, ready for anyone to be able to use and remix and make it usable for their populations. And it's absolutely free. In terms of the way that it's taught, I highly recommend the use of translanguaging, which means when students are able to learn the actual topics and they have the ability to express this, even if they're in their home languages to other students, that allows them to feel empowered in knowing the content while also freely pulling on their full linguistic resources, a term often known as translanguaging.
We bring up things like racism, feminism, underrepresented cultures and religions, social groups. And what we offer to students is not only a chance to read about these topics, but they are invited to engage more actively with them, right? So they discuss the themes with their peers, they consider different perspectives, they are able to share their viewpoints in a respectful manner.
We're standing on the shoulders of giants. We're using their work, and that allows us to contain more perspectives in our book than we ourselves have. I would say our book is innovative because it tries to include a more broad range of perspectives than we ourselves would have been able to provide without the help of these giants.
Embedding inclusive practices just show high quality teaching, and high quality teaching is inclusive in itself. But with awareness, I think, like part of the things that we do as a network as well is raise awareness. So we have an awareness calendar, and each month we observe a different area of disability. So for instance, in October, we observed Dyslexia Awareness Week and ADHD Awareness Month.
Inclusion is about impact, and awareness without action is nothing. And there is an English proverb that says action speaks better than words. So one thing is to raise awareness, but another thing is to be a role model.
I think inclusion touches upon a number of global issues in education that are important and require action if we are able to tackle them. One global issue, for example, is related to gender equality. A major global issue is education and inequality. Globally, the dropout rates for children in secondary school are alarming, and many of these children don't complete their basic education because of all sorts of pressures, in many cases a lack of opportunity. The focus of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 4 is about ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all.
Awareness is the first step in creating a more inclusive classroom and ultimately a more inclusive society.
The more we learn about one another, the more we act inclusive and create community, the smaller the world feels. And so the easier it is to find global issues more interesting and relevant.
Our governments are also important, because they are the ones who implement policy. So if governments implement policies that promote inclusivity in curricula and their training, wow, it will be wonderful.
Policymakers can have a broad effect on society, but teachers can have a really intense effect on the number of students that are under them.
Create reciprocal pathways for teaching that allow us to be able to exchange knowledge in both directions, both from newer concepts that are being learned in the classroom for teachers newly coming into the field, as well as gaining experience from those more knowledgeable from experience.
So these changes, it looks like they're really small, but they make a massive difference to people's lives and to people's opportunities.
To get to a truly innovative state, we need to build a sense of community and belonging, something that allows everybody to feel safe and allow them and encourage them to be able to come up with just incredible ideas that otherwise might have been shut in.
To give them opportunity to express themselves. We have to start for everyone, and treat every single student with respect and dignity. And this is through the collaborative model. In our different classes, during activities, you can create some good work. So to bring students from different culture, different backgrounds to work together, and this is already a sign of collaboration.
I believe that inclusion is about being kind, and it's about thinking about other people. And what I would say to policymakers and to teachers is that include inclusion in the materials you're showing to your students. There's no harm that could come from helping your students to understand that there are different people in the world, and you should treat them with kindness and respect as you should anyone.
So this is my advice to educators, clinical, as well as organizations to be more innovative in the area of inclusion.